Good
some
morning,
anomalies
investors.
started
Happy
taking further
Thursday.
in.
I'm excited
Now,
for
while
today's
I
live
don't
stream,
think
and
that
namely
particular
because there is
instance
a
has been
massive DeSci
officially
space going on
verified,
in this
it's
exact
more so
moment over on
illustrative.
X. So
It's to
I
say
want
that
to
we
take
see
the beginning
this
part of this live
across
stream
all fields
and
of
listen to some of these
science,
speakers with
and
you
it's
guys and
getting
kind
to
of get my
be
two
at a
cents.
faster
And maybe
pace.
if I get
So if we look at
if I
some
get
of the
something to
more
talk about, I will
traditional
raise my hand in
areas
there, and
of
hopefully you
science
guys kind of get
that
that
get
behind the
plenty of
scenes
funding,
of
some
me
of
talking
the
in literally what I think
larger
is the biggest DeSci
Einstein-style
space that has ever
breakthroughs have
happened.
already kind of been
Every big
tapped,
player is
and
here,
people are trying to figure
and
out
there's
where they can fit in.
1,100 people
But
still
there are
listening, and it's
entire
been going on
areas of
for about
science. One
40
group
minutes
that
or
I see
so.
on the panel right now, Athena Dow,
All right, let's
Women's
go.
Reproductive Health,
Good morning, good morning.
is a great
Hopefully the live
example
stream's running.
of a field that just doesn't
Yes, it
get the funding,
is.
doesn't get the love, doesn't get the respect that it deserves. And that you see that with most of the DAOs in the DeSci space. It's areas that have such a hard time getting funded in the traditional system. But if they
Cryogenics,
could get the money that they
hair,
need, they
women.
haven't had the same resources to tap the potential of their field. You can see expedited results from that. And if you can build it on a foundation of trust and transparency and openness, we can actually build a better system looking further into the future.
A much better
Instead of
system.
just faster results now, we can have foundational data sets that get repeated time and time again. We can have code libraries where scientists get rewarded for making them. You don't get rewarded for making code libraries right now. You get rewarded for a novel Einstein discovery. So yeah, I completely agree with you, Josh. It's two sides. It's how do we make this more, how do we make funding faster? And how do we get more transparency
Can you guys hear
to
it? I don't even
target
know
the
that I'm
actual
fucking
results to
live.
humanity?
Excellent
Hi, can I
connection.
jump in here since we were mentioned and
Error.
I'm here be able to speak? Thank you so much for hosting this space and having me. It's really nice to see the DeSci family,
Yeah,
getting to talk to all of
and
them.
that brings us to an interesting
okay.
angle.
Can you guys
sure.
hear me?
There we go.
Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly say from the Athena DAO side, my name's Norman Keeney. I'm the core lead for it. And I wanted to mention something that most people don't know in terms of how women's health works. Fertility, most people have heard of IVF. And this is a process that is not patented. So you can open a clinic, and if you are an OBGYN, you can practice IVF. In future iterations of this, IVG, in vitro gametogenesis, is going to be heavily patented. And
Again, guys, if you're just joining in, this is the end of a massive DeSci space with most of the major projects here. I just want to continue to listen to it a little bit more, and we can talk about things as they come up.
And the powerful
I got
thing
my
about
Bitcoin here.
DeSci is this collective ownership. The fact that we're going to be able to fund science that could impact
listening
the
to it.
future of
I'm not
healthcare,
speaking. Can you
and
guys
that it
hear
could
it?
be collectively governed, which is very important. Because you don't want to imagine a future in which women or couples are not able to access the latest technologies because they're just way out of budget or concentrated in the hands of few. And I think one of the big dreams in DeSci is obviously being able to bring some of these
if you guys get a
therapeutics to
question, I'll raise my
market
hand and ask the
and
question.
have some new ethical considerations
Please,
or
I've been looking
governance
for a question or
models
something
to
to
make sure
speak on
that
to raise
they're
my hand
accessible
for
to
it.
people. And when it comes to
Literally
reproductive
everyone's in this
technologies,
space, guys.
IVF
Everyone.
is still
I need to get that
expensive
investor
for
in front
most
of them.
people. $27,000 per IVF treatment is not something that 25 to 30-year-old women today can pay. And this impacts all of society. So I know that people think women's health might be a niche. It's not. You need us to have children. And if you're concerned about the population and the future interplanetary colonization, we need to make this reproductive technologies work for us. And that's the exciting thing about DeSci, that you can choose your area in science to bring forward and bring change on.
How do I raise my hand here? Where's usually there's a raise hand thing. It's kind of weird that it went so silent here after she talked.
Yeah, that's it. That's an amazing point.
I didn't mean to close out of that. Get back in here. How do I raise my hand?
Despite the
I don't think I can on this. That's upsetting. I might have to go from my phone in order to raise my hand.
I think you lost your mic there, Data.
Yeah, I lost audio.
Too much alpha.
All right.
I could also go on my phone, though. I know I can raise my hand on my phone.
Despite the apparent disrupting opportunities in DeSci, it's still difficult not to pay attention to its...
I can't request the mic. Not on here.
You might want to step down and then join back. It cut again. That should fix it. There's a lot of people in the space, so it just Twitter being Twitter.
Oh, there it is. Request to speak.
Or X.
I'm
my bad.
actually
Yikes.
dumb. I'm stupid as hell. Okay.
Yeah, in the meantime, why don't we continue discussion on some other stuff, and then I can fix the this problem. Yeah.
What should we ask them? What should we ask?
A bunch of scientists to make small talk. I think that's gonna be pretty hard here. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I can say a few words, maybe. I could say a few words.
Oh, go ahead.
That was
sorry.
funny.
Oh, sorry. No.
Yeah, go ahead.
If we have you back, that's great. I'm happy to move on to a different topic too. Otherwise, I would have replied to like the applications bit. I guess. Well, now I'm already speaking. I'm just going to say it. I guess. I think it's a really brief point, but I think like looking ahead, I think what's really interesting about many projects within DeSci is that the way that they build will allow much more collaboration in the future, because the data
Aave's at that VWAP.
is not only decentralized and open accessible, but it's also really crucially standardized.
Aave's chilling
and I
at the
think that
VWAP.
especially as we see more AI research agents. I mean, there was just this. Did you see the Nature paper that just came out on the co-scientists? Now really having LLMs really helping
AVAX
a
also.
lot more with scientific research, and I feel like in the future we're going to see that much more. Currently, it's mostly LLMs, but I think if we really want to make progress, we would have AI assistants also in many of these open and decentralized scientific projects, and for that you need really standardized and openly shared data. Like this data is the biggest problem, especially in cases like healthcare, for example, where oftentimes you have privacy restrictions and sensitivity concerns around.
I feel like AVAX is a better setup than Aave.
Have some encrypted ways to handle data here, like homomorphic encryption or what have you. But I think just for now, the fact that many of these projects building out in the open in a standardized manner, I think will be so important in the next 5 years or so, as we're going to have more AI kind of sweep in and help us more. And I think that's possibly a crucial advantage moving forward as compared to the legacy projects that don't share their data, where all the metrics are different, and it's just different. And I think it's a crucial investment I think that we're now making that hopefully is going to pan out later.
Yeah, I could not agree with that more, and it's standardization across a couple different levels. I mean, part of what you see is standardization of the way that we format data. Thanks to decentralized web technologies, accessing data, at least at its more foundational level, is already standardized. Through IPFS, you call a gateway, you reference you query the distributed hash table, and you get the information from any server that it's based out of. And part of what's powerful to me about that is how it helps us stop vendor lock-in. So I mentioned earlier in this talk
Connor?
that there were.
Well, we're just listening to a DeSci space here as I wait for a good trade
really
setup. This is
on
pretty much the largest DeSci space I've ever seen. So we're listening. If you guys have questions, I want to raise my hand and see what's good. What's up, FTW?
Think about
I'm waiting for Bitcoin to kind of come down a little bit, find some support, and hopefully I can enter into one of these altcoin trades.
And one of the
AVAX looked like it was going to be a good setup, but not so much anymore.
Starting to take shape.
Aave kind of fell a little bit too far down, and everything else is elevated along with Bitcoin. So if I can find a good setup, I'll definitely be entering into it, but there's a little bit, it's losing momentum here.
Then putting it
might be a
behind
good
paywalls
chance to short, because I think this might be a local top for a bit.
Behind paywalls. By using P2P networks, making it so that any server can help store the data, it doesn't really matter where it's
double the
from.
likes for
it
this
doesn't matter
Thursday.
if it's
Hell
part
yeah.
of that publisher's tech stack or not. As long as you can verify
I almost forgot
that it's the correct data, it can be served from
today.
And
is Bring a Friend to Stream Day.
Access
so go find somebody that you can bring to the live stream and get them ready for tomorrow. All right. I know this is the first time I've mentioned it, so I'll start mentioning it on Wednesday. But get them ready for Fitness Friday. Get your fat friends in here. Get your athletically fit guys in here. Get them ready for Fitness Friday because we're going to do a fuck ton of push-ups tomorrow.
To me,
so
that's the key
just
point
be
there.
Prepared.
Because it's you do have
Bring a Friend to Stream Day
for data to be private, encrypted, or not shared, but that should be not necessarily the standard.
All right, we're coming down quick, guys. We're coming down quick.
I'm back, and we can continue with the next question. I wanted to talk more about the issues in DeSci, because
here's a good time.
Those were raised about
better call in sick tomorrow.
Non-scientists are capable of distinguishing high-quality projects from bad ones, and what do you think are the greatest obstacles facing DeSci? Aldo, would be great to hear your take on this.
Thank you very much.
This is a really good question.
I'm making notes because I almost want to respond to each and every speaker, but you know, it's difficult. I'm a big fan of all. When it comes to obstacles, I think our obstacle is around informing individuals about the value of their data, the value of their genomic data. I've heard many of you speak about, you know, let's make data available. Let's find kind of this common way of dealing with data, so it could really, so we can really have science be accessible to all. So there's real scientific progress. We're all very a big supporter of that, but we do need to kind of make sure that specific rights around how data is
so we came down to that VWAP really quickly, guys,
are not violated or are not kind of exploited, right? If you Google data breaches 2023, you've seen that over 100 million people's data has been hacked just in the past year. In recent weeks, we had 23andMe and Norton, two very big healthcare provider companies.
That's crazy.
Over 9 million user records have been hacked, and the data, including DNA information that has been accessed, has been taken away and is being used on dark web forums. From the 23andMe data, we know that it's being sold on these web forums. The common denominator of these data.
I see the decentralized side of this being good for science, but how do they plan to battle with the volatility of crypto?
Right? So
it's a really good question. I don't know that they have plans. I truthfully don't think that they've thought far enough forward to see the volatility of crypto. The CryoDAO, that video that I just posted.
Even though we are also big advocates of the age of scientific wellness.
That video I just posted for the CryoDAO thing, like somebody proposed that they make a liquidity pool for the token, and one of the scientists was like, no, why would we do that? We just want to fund more crypto. It's like, well, you can't fund any of this shit if you don't have liquidity in it. So like, I don't think that they're totally ready for it. I don't think they have many plans.
Your genomic data has an exponentially growing value, right?
They're just focused on one side of it.
$300 million with GlaxoSmithKline, selling 6 million exomes in 2018. Right. Recently, they closed another deal for non-exclusive use of DNA data for $20 million. Right. So these are tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, if not billions that we're talking about. 4.7 billion was the amount that Blackstone paid for a company called Ancestry.com. So so our biggest challenge, going back to your question, is we want individuals that are kind of just being humans in this day and age, and providing their data sets and engaging with specifically direct to consumer genetic companies. We want them to be aware of the value of their data and which risks they're actually undergoing by just giving their data away. And very often, unfortunately, and this is maybe where a slight discussion.
I think Ethereum or ADA.
What Alison says is like we're not so much on saying like, you know, if people say, oh, it's for the age of scientific wellness or the well-being of humanity, then that shouldn't just open all doors. We should at all times make sure that everyone is informed and that everyone is conscious of, okay, what am I giving away here? How is it being accessed? What are you going to do with it? What are my ownership rights?
Let's go to the 3-minute candles.
Et cetera. Because unfortunately, these things happen. So
saying 43,750.
The biggest obstacle, and that's why these spaces are
right at the
VWAP. To continuously be talking about the value add that our tools and our products in DeSci can actually have. I'm going to pause there. Thank you.
Thank you, Aldo. Switching gears slightly, let's explore the theme of DAOs in DeSci. DAO-based blockchain projects are the most popular implementation of DeSci, most probably. And however, the hype over DAOs
I think I have a good question
down.
Here. If they go down the rabbit hole,
DAOs are facing real-world challenges in their request for effective governance, such as lack of well-developed and efficient infrastructure and difficulty in coordinating token holders. So, for DAO-based projects, what challenges have you met in operating a DeSci DAO, and what may be the solutions? Probably Albert or Kai would like to.
Yeah, ICP's not been holding up at all. Also, this move is happening far too quickly.
I can give this a shot.
This is a local top, like I said. There's no reason to. I don't see us bouncing here.
The biggest risk that
too much downward pressure.
I mean, it's also.
Let's go to ICP.
Many of our DAOs, we advocate and we preach for decentralization of decision making, decentralization of ownership.
Yeah, it's not a good look, guys.
Democratized way of making
straight
decisions
up,
and so
and then
on.
it's just bleeding.
But quite frankly, today,
I would have liked us to find support here. We haven't. If we come down to $6, this move was a pump and dump.
We
just have to call it as what it is, you know.
So I think
if we do not hold this spike and we just continue to have red day after red day after red day all the way back down, that's a pump and dump. That's not something I like to see for ICP.
But we'll have to figure out smart.
Like we have to hold above these levels. Hold the line.
To actually get to where we want to be.
Hold the door.
So I think that can be a problem that many DAOs, that many of our DAOs will face, but that many other previous DAOs have faced, and eventually they disperse, or there's not enough incentives for people to still be around in those DAOs, and they eventually just die off. So how can we not get
since we already broke it, I will move us to this area of contention, which is a peak here and a large area of contention here and here. Okay,
and not just
this is kind of the support that I need to see us break or hold,
new governance frameworks.
Would
and
also say
previous frameworks that we've
right around this area
and DeFi, right?
To watch.
Like we should have in mind that all of the governance
we got the peak area of contention. I'm also going to change this,
and that's the DeFi industry, which is very, very different from DeSci.
Those are the two areas I would watch.
That can be a challenge.
Right below us, we got to find support here, and then if we don't, I think we go straight down to here. If we don't find support here, the whole thing was a pump and dump, and I'm going to be sad.
Duration of time, and I think that's going to be a big challenge for DeSci as well. All of us, we have to figure out ways of. The science takes a long time, right? Getting a pharmaceutical to market can take 8 years, 10 years, or never. Getting a synthetic biology product to the market can take 5 years, but that's still a very long time. So have to be smart and figure out ways to capture value at earlier stages of the technological development, but also
have you guys hit that like
building out tooling that
got 4 likes and 8 watchers.
Other developers can use.
One of those likes is me too.
To build new things and figure out ways of how to create networks that can monetize.
Get in here.
Things. In a sustainable manner, right? Like,
come on, motherfuckers.
The goal should not be to maximize profit, because then you just get the legacy system.
Bitcoin fell straight down to the VWAP. We're literally gonna make money while I go ask a question in this DeSci space. We're literally gonna make bank.
Yeah, and I can touch on that as well, because at CryoDAO we're having a lot of these conversations, and I mean we're decentralized in our sort of approach on how we're approaching what to fund, which I think is one of the most complicated parts of DeSci DAOs is what do we fund? I mean, I think it's very easy to jump in and just throw money into a bunch of things that sound really cool, and the token holders can get behind it because it sounds really cool, and some of these more moonshot projects, and trust me, I'm all for moonshot projects and things that are very, very early stage, but to Albert's point there, you do have to find a way for the DAO to be self-sustaining and for it to last long term. And so you kind of have to find this sweet spot in projects that are really exciting, really high impact, but also things that can be commercialized and things that can, create.
You think they watched the video I put out about CryoDAO?
So we have everyone at CryoDAO, from people that are working on, organ level stuff, all the way to whole, human body cryopreservation, and everyone in between. So I think there's a healthy balance of discussion on what we should fund and sort of trying to figure out what that sweet spot is. And yeah, so I think that's one of the big challenges. And it kind of comes back into the question as well, is, you have all these token holders that might not be, extremely well versed on the science. How can you have them voting on these projects and all that? And that really comes down to the DAOs. I mean, I think what you're going to find is, in any DAO, you have people who are contributing a ton and wanting to be, really
do that on camera,
deeply involved.
And then
you have people who are sort of less involved or maybe not involved at all.
I'm forgetting that I'm so entrenched trying to think of stuff to talk about here.
People who are voting,
I forgot I was live for a second.
These people are willing to learn, right? So I mean, you need to make sure that you need to get as many scientists as possible involved in the DAO, so that they're spreading that knowledge.
Do you guys want to keep listening to this? I'm going to add a poll here.
You need to be teaching your token holders about the science, and especially for these DAOs that are working in areas that are underfunded and underappreciated, and a lot of people don't know about the science. I mean, what a perfect opportunity to introduce everyone to the science and
yes or no,
get them up to speed there. So. I think
if we come back down on Bitcoin here, come back down a little bit and show support on top of the moving average here for the RSI, I will be entering into a Bitcoin long.
But not to the point to where it starts slowing everything down, because then we're kind of falling into the same trap. The whole point is to move faster, not to move slower. So it's going to be a lot of experimentation.
That was kind of gross.
But I think this is the place to do it. So.
Could I add maybe one small point to that? What's up, guys? I'm Tyler. I'm the co-founder at Molecule, one of the co-founders of VitaDAO as well.
Let's go, Tyler.
I've spent the past couple of years, I think, working quite deeply in DeSci DAOs and kind of experiencing the full range of challenges that one would expect when building new organizations. I want to highlight what Albert said, because I think it's this really interesting double-edged sword. Like, decentralization is immensely powerful in that, like, the absolute strength of
you guys
DAOs
actually just split it 50-50. Yes.
A low barrier to entry, and anyone can contribute. And the absolute weakness of DAOs is that there's a low barrier to entry and anyone can contribute, right? And this is like a really I think important balance to get right. In the beginning, you have a core team with a vision, and it takes a long time for that vision to be
I want to hear Tyler
fully imbued in the community.
I feel like I might be able to ask a question after that. And then I'll get rid of it and we'll focus on the trade.
Anyone that builds or joins the Discord and gets involved, and if that's not really kept to, and if it's too loose, and if it's not kind of controlled, the organizations, I think, have the problem of kind of becoming a little bit directionless very quickly. And so it's always this balance between, I think, a group of really strong, intrinsically motivated people with a consistent vision who are constantly, pulling new joiners in the right direction, but not having so much control.
Again, I'm waiting for this to come down a little bit. I want to see the RSI touch the average down here. I would love to get an entry point closer to the block. There's this kind of preconceived
notion that DAOs need to be decentralized in every direction, but I think it's really just about decentralizing the right things, the functions that enable the DAO to scale and succeed and achieve its mission, but realizing that things like operations probably need a certain amount of centralization to have a strong degree of continuity and enable agility the same way that a lean startup can kind of move. So I'm always I'm very convinced that, like, as these organizations mature, the ones that succeed to the highest extent will be those that strike that balance in a really fine way, kind of implementing best practices from lean agile startups where it counts, leveraging network effects and decentralization where it has the ability to really accelerate the organization, for example, in the scientific working group, in diligence, in sourcing projects. And something that was mentioned by DeSci Labs, like, I think the other massive opportunity that we have here is that we're basically inventing, a kind of scientific funding, publishing ecosystem from scratch, and that comes with a huge responsibility and also a massive opportunity. Basically, to not replicate a lot of the issues.
I'm going to give it a second because I don't want to chase anything, but I believe I'll probably enter into.
There are many issues that we talk about Web3 and tokenomics and all these things as this kind of like incentive sandbox that can it's behavioral economics in a way. We can influence the behavior of people who are joining organizations, have them adhere to certain standards. I'm going to do an ETH trade.
I'm going
that is also, that works, I think, in some areas where there's a clear incentive issue that we have some leverage over. So, for example, like in intellectual property or funding, I think in the kind of publishing and data space, when you look at the way that scientists historically behave, it tends to be a function of the behaviors that they exhibit behaviors that reward them in this kind of legacy system. So I'm a postdoc. I've been working for years and years and years to basically try and get a tenure track position at a university. I basically get to a point where it's not really about the integrity of my research, but rather doing whatever it takes to publish or perish, in essence. And these cultural issues are really systemic. They're a function of this kind of university system and this basically a system in which our ability to move unilaterally in the system is a function of publishing in high impact journals and all of this. I think to change that, we need a young generation of scientists who are being funded by decentralized organizations with their own standards about what is done with data, how things are openly shared, that are basically not even planning to go on the kind of normal trajectory of tenure track, seeking a position in academia or going into industry. Right, and I think for DeSci to succeed in a massive way,
immediately down.
There basically needs to be a scientific ecosystem where one can come into this space as a PhD or a young
if we break
postdoc,
below here,
manage to get the funding they need to run a laboratory almost independently.
That's going to be my stop loss area.
Decentralized lab space
and the
ideal
around the world. Here is
people
to come up here,
laboratories
depending on how quickly we come to this area of contention.
Basically, people being like independent or
but
DAO
I would
associated,
love it if we could come
and
up here.
being able to have the same level
based on how we get to here is going to impact whether or not I sell or hold.
We're still a long way away from that. There still needs to be a lot more adoption. There needs to be a lot more growth in these organizations, particularly onboarding of the type of people that can have an impact there.
67%.
And I think in order to do that,
saying no,
also
let's not listen to this anymore.
DeSci, understanding what are DAOs, how does one onboard into them, facilitating
to the one person who wants to listen. Two of you guys do not want to listen.
Really important
and democracy powers everything.
Thank you, Tyler.
Anything I say is just literally going to be here.
Now I wanted to talk about simpler things.
I would love to get up there and communicate with them, but none of them really seem like they're ready for what I have to say. Because I'm probably going to go on a rant here as we watch this trade progress, because I'm going through some internal battles here in my own psyche, in my own mind. There are scams prevalent throughout all of cryptocurrency, and I've been recently arguing and debating aggressively with Blockchain Boy and Aaron about what a scam actually is, because in a certain way of framing things, DeSci can look like a scam, because there's all these projects that are popping up out of nowhere with a token, trying to fund things that are not going to receive any kind of scientific breakthrough. They're not going to receive any kind of realistically in the next 5 to 10 years. There probably not many of these DeSci things are going to end up coming with any products that make money and get to real world, which means, is that a scam, or is that just a failed business idea? Is that a scam? Is that the same thing as, let's say, a Ponzi scheme token in which you have to pump, in which there's yield that's generated only from new users coming into the system? Is that a scam, similarly to funding scientific research that never goes anywhere, the treasury runs out and it fails? In my opinion, no. There's a stark difference between the two of them. But ultimately, why are you buying DeSci? Are you buying DeSci so that we can... I entered that cryo sale, that cryo DAO sale. Did I enter that to fund cryogenic research, or did I enter that to hopefully make money and sell that to someone at a later point in time? Well, I entered it to hopefully make money and sell it at a later point in time. That's what most people here are doing, is to make money. Most of us, if DeSci didn't have a token involved, I mean, I personally would probably still pay some attention to it because it's interesting and that's what I like, but let's just be honest, I wouldn't give it much more than an occasional monthly checkup. It's similarly to how I pay attention to the James Webb Telescope and shit like that. I don't religiously track it. I didn't make my entire YouTube channel around it. I just occasionally go and look at it because I think it's kind of cool. Is it scammy of me then to have early access to some of these things, get into it, talk about it to a community of individuals, knowing full well that I'm going to sell my coins at the top, and knowing full well that not everyone is going to sell their coins at the top, meaning that some of these people who I am introducing to DeSci are going to get wrecked. Is that scammy? It's a difficult question, because when you really break it down, I don't think so. But like, what's the difference between just jumping into the next DeFi thing that we know is likely not going to succeed and is probably going to get taken down by the SEC? You know, there's a legal framework here, and then there's the moral framework with it as well. The legal framework doesn't exist, and so all of it is legal. All of it is pre-legal. But then we know what is likely going to get deemed to be illegal versus what's likely going to be deemed able to stay, unless Elizabeth Warren gets in here, and then all of it's illegal, so why not do any of it? Because ultimately the end result, like if somebody jumps into a Ponzi scheme, somebody jumps into a scam and makes money, then does that matter? Like, there's still the same effect of people getting wrecked and people making money, because this is a capitalistic society still at the end of the day. And then we get into all my other thoughts and brain fuel about how, like, theoretically speaking, capitalism is low-key on its way out. And when I say on its way out, everyone tweaks out and says I'm an idiot for saying stuff like that. I'm about to get stopped out of this trade too, which is sad. But you have to understand that capitalism's been around for like 3,000 years. And so when I say on its way out, it could survive for another 500, 600 years, right? It could survive for generations to come. But it's on its way out in the grand scheme of capitalism. I just think on a different time frame than most people, and it's difficult to present that to everyone when they're looking for the next pump to get us from $1 to $1 million in like 60 days. So everyone's too focused on the short term to think about the implications of what that means for the long term. And I don't know. For example, where's my X? Did I close out of X? No. For example, wait, let's get this here. And feel free to say your own 2 cents in all of this if you guys want as well. Just tell everyone when you're selling. I am more than, like, I will be telling everyone as I'm selling, but ultimately I won't reach those same people. You know, you don't see everyone's piece of content. And yes, I'm covering my back, but that's from a legal standpoint. If I go tell everyone out in my complex to buy Bitcoin and everyone buys Bitcoin, and then 2 years later, I go tell everyone to sell Bitcoin, and then one person's not there and they don't hear my message to sell it, then like I got them into something that they're probably going to continue to hold and get dumped. I know it's not like my responsibility, but at the end of the day, people doing that for a scam is the same end result. It's just like a different vehicle to disguise that is the result. Okay, the main like argument here, okay, is like I did a promotion for DeFi, for Jump DeFi. I think it's really cool, and I love that they're working on it, and I know the people who are working on this. They just did their first tranche, or their second tranche of token sales, and it sold out in 3 hours. It's DeFi that's on Near, it's on Telos, and it's on, I forget, it's on one more third chain, right? This has a purpose. This serves a purpose in the ecosystem of crypto, right? Like, whether or not you want to take the risk and get into an early token sale like this, it serves a purpose. Nonetheless, they paid me in tokens, and I need to fund my, I have to eat. And so I will be selling off a majority of these tokens. I'll probably hold on to some of them because I like the team and I really do think that this could do something. So I'll probably hold some bag, but I got paid to promote something, and I will be dumping on people who just got into it. It's a loop that you get stuck into, because ultimately, I believe that this is a project that has some real intentional use cases here, and so it's something that I feel comfortable promoting, but I'm promoting something that I plan on selling almost immediately. It's difficult, right? Do you guys see kind of my dilemma there? Do you guys see my dilemma? I've been talking. Also, shout out Jump DeFi. Go check them out. Actually, go check them out. They're pretty dope. They're pretty dope. They're the first and only DEX on Telos, so that tells you something. And they just closed their second launch, their second round of token sales, and it sold out in 3 hours, which is crazy. Under 3 hours. Absolutely crazy, but it's tiny, so do your own due diligence. VitaDAO. There's an opportunity here lining itself up in which I might get paid to talk about VitaDAO. Real talk. There's an opportunity here where I might receive Vita tokens to talk about VitaDAO and to like network and expose people to VitaDAO. Same thing with Nobles. Same thing with, don't look at my DMs. Don't look at my DMs. Same thing with Noble Blocks. They're a DeSci protocol that's being built on top of ICP. There's a good opportunity here for me to help with their marketing because I like ICP and I like DeSci. But if I get paid in these tokens, I still have to pay my rent. I still have to pay, I contribute to Samira's mortgage, so I still have to pay her things. I'm going to sell the tokens. I'm going to tell people about it. I'm going to get people into the ecosystem to start using the DAO and to start experimenting on what ICP can do for decentralized science. But ultimately, I am going to be a net selling pressure on it. And so, all right, let me shut up for a second and read what you guys are saying. This is crypto people know that they're dealing with. If they don't, they will learn quick. They will learn quick. Just because you sold your tulips doesn't mean you think tulips are ugly. That's facts. I will at least get my money out, let the rest ride. Yeah, everyone, like, anyone, you enter into any of this stuff, it's all speculation, but that's not different from the stock market. That's not different from any of that. We're doing, all crypto is early, not all of it, but crypto is early stage VC funding. And so most VCs fail. Most ideas fail. The problem is it's all completely unregulated right now. And so there are ideas, novel ideas that are coming out that are probably doomed to fail. Like there's companies that go bankrupt all the time that were on the stock market because they were a bad idea. They shouldn't have been on the stock market. Like I know everyone compares shit to the dot-com bubble, but the dot-com bubble was a prime example of it. Like pets.com literally didn't even have a product. They just put .com at the end of their website and IPO'd. There's regulations now in place to stop stuff like that from happening because that's scammy and bad. The same thing's going on in crypto right now, in which anyone can spin any project up they want to and immediately just launch it to market, like within a couple minutes, within a couple hours maybe. And then as long as they have marketing power, whatever. There's a very stark difference here, and I'm battling with conveying that to people. As long as it doesn't have a cat or a GOG on it, you'll be okay. You aren't pushing a meme. And that's another thing. Like, are people who promote meme coins, are they then to be held responsible for people getting wrecked? Somebody who goes into a blatant Ponzi scheme versus a meme coin, they're kind of the same thing. The meme coin, the only reason people would buy them is because they want the number to go up. That's not a good reason to invest in something. That's not an investment. That's not an investment. That's a gamble. And at best, and at worst, it's a Ponzi. At least this has more than just community. True. DeSci has a lot more than just community. The car seller sells vehicles with known problems, even if they pass 150 inspection points. Burden of know what you're buying is on the buyer. I like that DYOFR. But then there's no problem with promoting a Ponzi scheme under that light, but legally speaking there is, because if I tell people it's a Ponzi and people get in knowing it's a Ponzi, they could still get burnt, and that's still illegal, you know? It's a bunch of my soul bag into DeSci, praying I made the right decision. Let's go, Steven. Hopefully, we'll see. Sol is pumped like crazy, so hopefully you kept some in cash. It's probably a Ponzi, but it's okay. We all have accepted it at this point. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Steve. Not all of it is a Ponzi. It's just a new way of funding things. You know, not all of the most projects, I would say, are not Ponzi's. I mean, most mainstream ones. There's a ton of little coins that pop up and go crazy and then disappear. Those are likely Ponzi-esque. The stuff that I pay attention to, I deliberately look for things that are not Ponzi-esque. there's a line. There's a fine line. And I think morally most of us understand what that line is. But because all of this is pre-legal, some of us are willing to cross that line in an attempt to get money. My question is being transparent about that change it? I don't think it does. And I know in the light of the law, it does not either. So all of these, not all of them, but a vast majority of influencers out here getting paid to promote shit that they know has no standing to be there. ICP's an L0. Anyone got deep, Inu? This got deep really quick, but this is what's been like distracting me from my work for the past like week. And it's something I gotta solve in my own head. I think I did just solve it, so fuck you guys. No, not fuck you guys. I love you guys, but fuck everyone who was making me think about that aggressively. Alright, the trade, wait, where'd the trade go? Did I get stopped out? I have not gotten stopped out of the trade yet, but we are bouncing on the VWAP still aggressively. Spending a little bit too much time here, and with the velocity that Bitcoin came down, I think this might be another L trade, so I apologize. 2 L's in a row, guys. Multiple L's here. Here it is, we're gonna watch it IRL, in live time, as we get stopped out of the trade. What's good? Honest, yeah. So I think transparency is enough. It's enough maybe morally, but in the eyes of the law, even if Bernie Madoff were to say, hey, I'm scamming you, I don't think it would have stopped, I don't think it would have protected him, you know? And people, as we know in crypto, people are still going to jump into it. People are still going to dive right into it, even if you're explicitly like, hey, this thing's probably going to go to zero. People still jump right into it because they're like, ooh, but everyone else is making money. But that's not my fault. That's fuck them. You stupid dummy. Here it is. None. No. Can the accrual of value be held in a token also improve or progress the project? Yes. Absolutely. In DeSci, yes. Alright, I'm waiting on the notification to say we got stopped out. Let's see if we actually get stopped out. Yes, because the treasury is held in the token, so if the token value goes up, there's more money in the treasury for the DeSci project to fund more research. There it is. Stopped out. Sadness. I should have stuck with my gut there. As when it was falling like that, I said this is happening too quickly, but I thought it would find support at the VWAP. Generally, it does have a good chance of finding support, but it did not today, so another L today. Fridays, we're on a streak on Fridays. Fridays have been really good. Fridays have been really solid. So hopefully we can make some money back, but ultimately I think this week is going to be the first red week in a very long time, which is sad. Generally, like, I'll have a couple red days, but ultimately I'll break even or have a slight victory. I think this week, unless I somehow pull off a miracle tomorrow, is going to be a red week. Which I'll take. The law doesn't go after people paying them. Law doesn't equal morality. That's true. That is valid. Any thoughts on Algorand? Algo. Also, I think I might need to change the time of these live streams. I enjoy going live in the morning. Maybe I'll do another poll. I'll do another poll. Start a poll. I know everyone, you guys have been waking up for it, but 9 a.m. 9 a.m. This is Eastern Standard. We got to remember that 9 a.m. is 6 a.m. over on the West Coast. So I'm cutting off half the U.S. by going live this early. And even other people like don't want to wake up this early for 9 a.m. And then we'll do one at 11 a.m. And then we'll do one at 1 p.m. And then we'll do one at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. is probably the one that would win over for me. I'm going to change that. We're going to go to 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. I wake up at 5 a.m. on the West Coast. Whenever is fine. Oh my god, MK. You are a different breed. A different goddamn breed. Algorand on the daily here. It's chilling around the highs from yesterday, and it's on top of the VWAP. It did kind of give mixed signals. It did kind of give mixed signals earlier today when it was chopping between the above and below section of the VWAP. However, it has been trending up for the better part of today. If we go ahead and zoom out to look at a more wide-based forecast for the price of Algorand, we're looking at an area of consolidation here on the 4-hour chart. Last time we had an area of consolidation, we in fact had another run up. So perhaps we see something remarkably similar again to the first move. Perhaps we see something remarkably similar right there, in which we consolidate for a little bit longer and then run up to 30 cents. Perhaps that is on the forecast. Maybe that's not on the forecast. We're consolidating in an area that has previously been a good area of resistance. This is an area of contention, I like to say. Have I used the example of each candle being a battlefield and a war before? I know I have, but has it been long enough where I can reuse it because I really like it? Waste of half the day, as I don't do anything at 5 a.m. anyways. Yeah, I don't know why you're getting up at 5 a.m. Go for a run, enjoy, go for a workout and shit. 6 a.m. Eastern Standard is better. God damn, DYOFR, I ain't getting up at 6 for a live stream. For me, you're actually okay. It's like 6 or 7, not a bad time. I just have been sleeping in, lit. I make my schedule, so whenever. Let's go, MK. You're saying you'll be here regardless. My man, my man. Who's switching back and forth between the 9 a.m.? All right, we got 3 votes. Are there only 3 people in here with us right now? There's 12 people in here. Why on earth are we not getting more votes on this thing? Also, why does this look so damn delayed? Oh, there we go. Come on, there's 10 people in here. Go vote on the goddamn poll, please. We're at a large area of contention here. You got to remember, every time we come to one of these support or resistance lines, I don't like calling it support or resistance because it's obvious. When we're below it, it's going to be resistance. When we're above it, it's going to be support until it's not. All these lines are, these regions are area of contention. These regions are where battles are taking place. This is a war zone right at these lines. Each battle has a winner and a loser. Each candle has a winner and a loser. And each candle is a battlegrounds. The buyers or the sellers are going to win. There will always be a winner at each one of these candles. The people who are long or the people who are short. And the question is, who has more ammo? Who can withstand the fight longer? More ammo being more dollars, right? Do the short sellers have more dollars? And we slice straight through this battlefield, this war zone, or do the buyers have more ammo and do we skyrocket above? But nonetheless, there is a battle that's going to take place every time we approach one of these lines. And you just have to be able to identify these lines by understanding where we spend a lot of time at. Because during war, a lot of people spend time on the battlefield. It's unfortunate. But looking at Algorand, we got these clear zones in which battles have been taking place. And right now, we're just underneath one. If we get rejected here, Algorand is kind of doomed for this bull market, in my opinion. It's doomed to not really succeed too well. So it needs to break above and come above this previous high here. Otherwise, we've just been consistently making a low, a high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low. That's not something I want to invest into. We need to find stuff like this. You need to find stuff like this, which is consistently putting in a higher high, right? Every single time it has a pullback, it's been a good time to buy. Here you go. A high, a low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high. You get it? A higher low, hopefully, and a higher high. Every single time. So, is it possible that we get reversals? Absolutely. Absolutely, it's possible we get reversals. Just like back here, last cycle, we had Ethereum. Ethereum was trending down, right? A low, a higher low, or a lower high, a lower low, kind of a lower high right there, a lower low. And then we finally got a higher low, and then it broke out, and we got above this trend line. We put in a higher high, and then the trend reversed, and we were able to go up to make all-time highs. Can Algorand do that? I hope so, because I got a bag of algo. But we just have to be transparent with ourselves here, and we can't lie about anything. We have to be honest with ourselves. Will it actually make that reversal? Things like Solana have already made that reversal. Solana has already made that reversal dramatically. It's literally almost about to break its all-time high on the log chart. It's going flippin' insane. It made that reversal. Is Algorand going to? And why has Solana done it when Algorand has not done it? You know? That's what you got to be asking yourselves. We got a lot of people saying stay for the 9 a.m. live stream. I'm probably going to do another poll on X and see what the results are there. We got a couple people saying go for the 12 p.m. spot. Now, as far as the analytics for all social media content, people are most active between 1 p.m. and about 6 p.m. So the 9 a.m. is definitely hurting my demographic, but I kind of want to grab you guys because likely if you're up and looking at financial markets right now, you take this shit serious, you know? I'm going to end the poll. Thank you all for voting. I have a farm and animals to feed. I get to work, guys. Let's go. Let's go, MK. That's kind of dope. I want a farm. Being in the oil field in Alberta, I always have to be up. I've been getting up between 4 and 5 a.m. for 15 years. That's insane. Holy shit. What is the token you're holding until 2025? It's a good question. I'll probably be holding VitaDAO until 2025. That's low-key going to be my biggest play. Actually, 9 a.m. is good for me when I'm on days or nights. Beautiful. 9 a.m. is perfect then. ICP I thought was going to be that coin for me. I really did. It's kind of run up a little bit, and so I'll continue to hold my bag. So there's a lot of coins I'll be holding till 2025. ICP will be one of them. I'm not going to sell out of everything. ICP has broken out. ICP did what Algorand needs to do, right? We were consistently making lower lows and lower highs, and then we kind of put in a lower, like a higher one here, and then pulled back, found that support, and then skyrocketed. You found that support and skyrocketed. What I'm waiting for next to do it actually is H-bar. I know a lot of you guys probably don't really enjoy H-bar, but I'm low-key waiting for H-bar to have that little pump, which it's kind of doing right now. We're like in the process of it. I will likely dump a good chunk of my H-bar when we get up to here, so we got a little bit more to go. But you see the same market structure. Boom. You find that reversal. That's clear signs of a reversal. You get those lows and then you start stacking up going higher. How much gain you target if the ETF approved? For Bitcoin, that is a beautiful question. I believe that Bitcoin does a 10x from where we bottomed, okay? So if you come look at the all-time history index, actually no. Let's pull up my prediction chart. You come look at my prediction for Bitcoin. I believe, let's get this up, that Bitcoin bottomed here at 15,400. And I was arguing that at the time that it was happening. I was saying that, and I had to put up so many arguments I've been saying that longer than literally anyone else that I've seen on the market out here. I just got to pat myself on the back. I believe that Bitcoin does a 10x from where it bottomed, putting the price, well, not at 172 because that's not a 10x. So I don't know why they just did that to me. Make me look like a fool. Bitcoin bottomed right there. Am I high? There we go. This says 171,000 for what I've been saying. So we'll put the upper band right there. I'm saying we'll probably go to 150,000, maybe 160,000. I'm assuming a 10x from where it went, 1,000% returns on Bitcoin. 830 is better. God damn it, DYOFR. I ain't going earlier. Earlier is not on the table. $77,000 makes more sense. That's bearish as fuck, my man. You think ICP will drop below $8? I hope it does not. I hope we can find support here. Otherwise, this move seems less exciting. You're saying that let's go look at stuff. Let's go look at stuff. For the coincidentally, I have all of the cycles mapped out. All right, you can come see each Bitcoin cycle, right? This one we got the halving that was in 2012 all the way until 2016. So this is the 2013 cycle. Then we have the 2017 cycle, and I have the 2021 cycle. Let me change the color on this one to be blue because I like blue. All right. So the 2013 cycle from halving until halving, so the next halving till halving, that would put a peak up at $5.9 million per Bitcoin, which we know is not going to happen because there's diminishing returns, right? $5.9 million per Bitcoin is a 12,000% return, okay? Now let's replace it with the next one, which would be a $1.7 million Bitcoin if we were to repeat the 2017 cycle. And that is 3,900% returns. Okay, so we went from 12,000% returns to 4,000% returns. Now, if we duplicated the thing that we did last cycle, you would see a $372,000 Bitcoin or 660% returns from where we're at right now. You can see a trend each time it's been getting less and less exciting. Where does Bitcoin end up running to for this cycle is likely a good chunk over the previous all-time high. The previous all-time high is at $69,000. If we look at how each one has been progressively getting less and less, maybe you're right. Maybe we do just run up a little bit. We go scoop and then fall back down. Maybe that's exactly what happens, and this is the start of no more cycles for Bitcoin, but there's an egregious amount of money flowing in if the ETF gets approved. If the ETF does not get approved, I don't think we have a cycle. If the ETF gets approved, I think we go up to $160,000. Rate cuts are bad short term, yeah. Rate cuts are bad for the dollar strength. We'll probably see 70-ish K Bitcoin before a month or two hold up above 100K. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I still think that at the halving will be between 50 and 30,000, which sounded like a ludicrous number when we were at 15,000, but I believe we'll be somewhere between 30 and 50,000 at the halving. So I think maybe we keep running for a little bit and then pull back and then go probably exactly like that, which is going to be funny. Canadians have no dollar strength left. Facts. But I've enjoyed this live stream. I appreciate you guys being here with me. We got average duration of 13 minutes, so hell yeah, we're cooking. Is Bitcoin having any kind of reversal? Remember, No, Bitcoin fell straight through, so I should have stuck with my gut there saying that we were going to break through. Remember, everyone, tomorrow is Fitness Friday. Fitness Friday is Bring a Friend to Stream Day, because we are more than just investing into wealth here, we're investing into our health. Every dollar we make trading tomorrow represents one push-up that must be done tomorrow. All right? Bring a friend to stream tomorrow. We're going to have a good time. I promise I'm not going to just rant about nonsense tomorrow, except I don't think this was nonsense, and if you guys enjoyed it, go ahead and let me know so that I know to rant about my moral qualms on stream more often. I don't want to just cover news all the time. Although news is important when you're making your investment decisions, sometimes I don't give a shit about what's happening in the news cycle. I just want to chill. I'm guessing we're about 18 days away from another good drop. We'll see how long it takes. Rate cuts are bad. I think we should lower 12. Bitcoin should hit 12K on the low. Oh my God. US will not allow that to happen. BlackRock will not allow that to happen. Cathie Woods isn't going to let that happen. I'm not going to let that happen, and you better not let it happen either. Your time's your most valuable asset. Hopefully this was a good stream to invest it into. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.